Hey guys, Tang with Fox Airsoft here, and today's video is all about FPS. What is it and how do we measure how a gun shoots in terms of airsoft? Before we begin though, I'd like to mention that if you haven't signed up already, especially for you beginners, if you go on our website, go to foxairsoft.com, check under beginners. If you sign up for our newsletter, you will get updates on stuff like this all the time, so you're always able to learn something new and improve your game. All right, so let's talk about velocity. So for beginners out there, FPS stands for feet per second. Now this is the common unit of measurement for airsoft guns in terms of performance, at least for how hard they shoot. And if you are in any other part of the world, you might see it as meters per second, empirical versus metric. I'm speaking from an American perspective, so I'm going to stick to feet per second. Another unit of measurement that's being used more often and is probably more accurate is joules. I'll get into that in a moment. So when you're looking up specs of an airsoft gun in terms of performance, you're going to see a number. It's going to be usually feet per second and the weight of BB that was used to measure it. So this is going to be your metric to determine how hard your gun shoots, and that'll tell you if you can bring it to your local field or not. Now, the most common weight of BB they're going to use to measure these is 0.20 grams. That's just been how it is for the longest time. So you'll see that in 0.20s. Now, the more entry-level guns or beginner grade guns, or sometimes even just guns that are sold everywhere, it doesn't mean it's a beginner grade, might have a number in 0.12 gram BBs. Now, the number is a little bit deceptive because when you compare two guns and the number of a cheaper low-grade gun seems awfully high, that's because when you're shooting a BB with the same amount of force, but you put something lighter weight BB, it's going to be driven at a higher speed. Now, another unit of measurement that you might see starting to pop up is joules. That's probably the more accurate way to measure how hard a gun shoots. So joules is actually a measure of force. When you compare numerous airsoft guns, provided the BB weights are equal, your true measurement of joules will determine how hard the gun is shooting relative to everyone else's gun. And that remains true even if you change the BB weight to a certain degree. There's some small factors that are exclusive to certain platforms such as HPA and stuff like that. But joules overall is much more accurate than raw feet per second. Now you have to keep in mind these rules are really just designed for safety. I want to stress that a lot of people might chase the numbers just to feel like they're min-maxing or getting the most out of their gun. And building your equipment for performance is great and all. When we're talking about a matter of 10 or 20 FPS from the limit, it's not a huge deal. You will hardly notice it, so I guarantee you if you just try it out, and as long as you have a well-tuned and accurate gun, that 20 or so FPS is not a big deal. That all being said, if your gun does shoot a little bit weak for your field, you can address it with upgrades for sure. So when you want course increases in FPS, you'll probably want to change your spring. That's the biggest drastic improvement. An aspect of tuning that you could probably look at if you want to squeeze a little bit more performance though, is probably efficiency-based tuning. So throwing in a tight bore, working on compression in your gearbox, things that don't necessarily add stress to the gun itself, but can squeeze more FPS will definitely be noticeable, and it'll keep your gun running a lot longer. Anywho, that's all I wanted to leave you with today. So to wrap it up, FPS isn't everything. I mean, if you have a big deficit, you will notice it, of course, so definitely address that. But if you're talking about squeezing the most just to be at the limit or over the limit, don't chase that number. It's not that important. It's more about having your gear work and functioning and working well, and then enjoying the game. So that's all I have for you today. I'm Tang from Fox Airsoft. I'll see you guys later.